Hi guys, welcome to Money by Sunny. Today, we'll be talking about bad behavior, specifically bad behavior with respect to your spending and your finances. These are traits and actions that might be keeping you stuck in a low income, low wealth trap. Very often, we focus on only acquiring technical knowledge. For example, how to develop a personal budget, what budget type to choose, how to start a dropshipping business, how to pick stocks, how to invest in cryptocurrencies, etc. These are all certainly very important skills which you need to get a good hold of your financial position and eventually set you on the path to millionaire status. But I would argue that it's even more important to adopt the right mindset at the beginning so that you give yourself the best possible chance of achieving success. If you were a PC, think of this as ensuring that the right hardware is put in. You need the right multi-core processor, sufficient RAM, storage, etc. before you can start installing the software, which is the technical knowledge that we spoke about earlier, and apps that will allow you to reach your full potential. In other words, the right behaviors and practices form the foundation of your journey to a wealthy and debt-free life, so don't neglect them. Ready? Let's get into the 5 behaviors to stop right now. Number 1. Not visualizing success. Confidence in oneself and an inner belief that you can improve your situation is a common trait amongst successful people. It may seem a bit fluffy depending on your beliefs, but having that specific mental image of achieving success is a powerful mindset. It can also be a strong motivator that helps you to keep grinding in your quest to achieve your goals. One great way of doing this is implementing what is called a vision board. This can take the form of a notice board or a whiteboard that you put in your room, which has visual reminders of what it is that you are trying to achieve. It could be pictures of your specific goals or even relevant, important, or motivational quotes. For example, if it's a number 1 best-selling mobile game that is your ambition, try printing out the Apple App Store top games list with your app superimposed as number 1 on the list. This may seem corny, but look no further than the example of Jim Carrey, which you may already be aware of. When he was a struggling actor-comedian back in 1985, he wrote a $10 million check to himself, dated 10 years in the future, for acting services rendered. And sure enough, in 1995, he was paid $10 million for his role in the movie Dumb and Dumber. The reality is that visualizing your success is something that can be a game changer. Number 2. Caving into peer pressure. Peer pressure is something that we are introduced to at an early age. Think of how you felt envious of and subsequently wanted the same cool bags or sneakers that your classmates were wearing back in school. Unfortunately, as adults, we are not exempt to this. It may even become worse as we get older, as our wants tend to grow and we seem to see more and more things that others have that we also have to have. As we go through our working lives, we often find ourselves comparing our lifestyles and possessions to our peers. For example, if several co-workers, colleagues, or even family members get new cars, it's not uncommon to find yourself wanting one as well. To keep up in this invisible and insidious race for status. This can lead to poor financial decisions, as giving in to peer pressure can give you short-term happiness, but are often at the expense of your long-term success. Once you have your vision of success, as we talked about earlier, the only peer you should be looking to emulate is your future successful self. So forget about keeping up with others. In your race to financial freedom, there's only one runner, you. Number 3. Perfectionism. Perfectionism can be thought of as the wish for things to be in the state of being complete and correct in every way. You may think of perfectionism as something that you should aspire to, and in some occupations you may be right. After all, if you were performing surgery on someone, you should certainly be aiming for a perfect operation. We're also taught from an early age to strive for perfection. For example, teachers and parents often encourage their students and children to aim for a perfect score in tests or exams. However, when it comes to financial success, trying to achieve perfection is usually a barrier. Why is this? Oftentimes, trying to squeeze that last 5% or 10% out of an activity to make it perfect will take up a disproportionately large amount of your time and effort. Furthermore, it's very likely that this additional 5% or 10% is not going to give you much in terms of returns. And you may realize that all this extra effort was just to satisfy your inner need for perfection, rather than trying to maximize your savings or growing your wealth or anything else that you were trying to achieve. Perfectionism can also sometimes be a barrier to taking action in the first place. For example, before starting a new venture or a new business, people are sometimes prone to overthinking as they try to figure out how to make the business and operations perfect. As a result, it's common to get bogged down by zooming in on all of the possible details and pitfalls. And from there, it's easy to get discouraged and not even start. Instead of going for something perfect, just get started and improve along the way. In the long run, you'll come out better off. Number 4. Negative mindset. Negativity is a surefire killer of dreams and goals. Henry Ford, who is the father of modern mass production, once said, "Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right." This illustrates the power your attitude or mindset can have when it comes to achieving success. When considering a new budget plan or a new business venture, instead of immediately coming up with reasons why something can't be done, you have to gradually flip this around to thinking how to make it happen. This doesn't mean that you ignore the potential pitfalls. That would be delusional. No, it's completely fine and rational to realize that there are problems or issues when working towards your financial goals. The trick is to not let these problems completely dominate your thinking, which can lead to apathy and eventually not taking action. Instead, they should simply be viewed as hurdles to be jumped over, rather than roadblocks that will derail you completely. Number 5. Fear of failure. Failure is viewed by many as a dirty word. It's a terrible insult to be called a failure, and because of that, it's something that we naturally want to avoid. However, we must realize that if we ever want to achieve anything meaningful with our finances, there is always the risk of failure. Because of this, we have to change how we view and process failure. Often, a fear of failure is closely connected to a fear of embarrassment. No one wants to look bad in front of friends and family, or even strangers for that matter. And because of this, we tend to take the safe path rather than going out on a limb and trying something that is higher risk, but also higher potential reward. This is something that requires a change in mentality, to accept that failure is a normal part of growing. Instead of letting it control us, we should look to it as opportunities to learn. In fact, in the tech world, the fail fast philosophy is something that is commonly adopted. In summary, it describes a system whereby the aim is not to avoid failure by producing a perfect product immediately. Instead, the system seeks to rapidly try out approaches, see if and how they fail, then incorporate the learning from those failures by improving the next iteration of the product or service. This achieves a quality product by constantly learning and improving from past failures. In this way, the stigma of failing is completely removed. Instead, failures are almost welcome, as they can provide valuable feedback on the path to success. There's a saying in sports, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. In other words, if you don't try, you won't succeed. So unless you're content with making only small incremental gains or even standing still, don't let your fear of failure paralyze you. In conclusion, the path to growing your wealth and achieving your financial goals is not a simple one. While there will undoubtedly be many twists and turns, your own mindset and conscious behaviors could be your most powerful tool in giving yourself the best possible chance to overcome these obstacles. Learning to avoid or even stop the above 5 behaviors will allow you to put in a stable and strong foundation, which gives you a solid base to grow from. I hope you got some useful insights from this video. Give us a like and subscribe if you did, and see you next time on Money by Sunny.